my name is Salsa Azizah Nabila and I am undergraduate student in English Language and Literature at Airlangga University, Surabaya. Today's video is going to be about digital culture and the new media. Can anyone guess what the media it is? Yes, alright, online transaction media, which is what is being widely used by Indonesian people, namely QRIS or Quick Response Codes Indonesian Standard. Usage in Indonesia has experienced rapid development in recent years. QRIS is a digital payment standard that allows users to make payments using a QR code scan from banking application or digital wallets. The Indonesia government has supported development of QRIS as an effort to encourage non-cash transaction, increase financial inclusion, and reduce the use of cash. In general, the implementation of QRIS has had a positive impact in increasing accessibility, speed, and security in carrying out payment transactions in Indonesia. QRIS is an effort to simply many types of QR codes into one to provide a simpler, more practical, and secure payment system. Therefore, sellers or providers of goods and services now no longer need to prepare various types of QR codes from many different institutions. So guys, what do you think about the cash payments? Will it be replaced by the use of QRIS? And which one is better? From Marbaum research in 2018, technology is something that always coexists with people's lives in modern today. Technology continues to develop as time goes by human thinking to facilitate subsequent activities applied in various sectors of life. Looking at economic growth in other countries, one factor is the regulation of payment system. Bank Indonesia has the responsibility to regulate and ensure the smooth running of the payment system by having the power to control the use of legal payment instrument according to Bank Indonesia's policy. Banks are also responsible for providing permits for the operation of payment system, both cash and non-cash. Bank Indonesia encouraged to use non-cash payments because that are more safer, practical, and faster in midst COVID-19 pandemics. This effort primarily emphasized contactless online transaction, which allow transaction without physical contact between the seller and the buyer. And in addition, Bank Indonesia is trying to prepare a new normal transaction pattern that prioritizes payment without physical contact. To support the trend of non-cash and contactless transaction in the digital economy era, Bank Indonesia introduced an online payment system called Quick Response Indonesian Standard or QRIS. QRIS is an initiative of Bank Indonesia and the Indonesia Payment System Association (ASPI) to create a payment system that is more efficient, easy to access, and centrally supervised by regulator. QRIS, which became active on January 1, 2020, is a QR code used for transaction via digital wallets, mobile banking, and electronic money system. According to Silahi et al. In 2022, the use of digital payment transaction is expected to provide great benefits for entrepreneurs, traders, and the general public in Indonesia. QRIS is currently being used everywhere, from large restaurants to roadside angkringan. The decision between using a QRIS or cash, it depends on each individual's personal preference. However, several considerations can help in choosing. The first one is security. Using QRIS has its security such as transaction tracking and use of digital data. However, cash can also provide a sense of security for some people because it does not involve technology that is vulnerable to a cyber attack or the risk of data loss. The second one is convenience and speed. QRIS can be faster and more convenient in some situations, especially in transactions that require speed and efficiency. Cash can take longer, especially if you need to wait for change or prepare the exact amount. The next one, we have financial inclusion. Using QRIS can expand access to financial services for those who previously did not have access to banks or financial institutions. The last one is transaction fees. Using QRIS can have lower transaction fees than using a cash, especially if there are discount or incentive from digital payment platforms. According to Fahmi and Azari in 2020 research, using QRIS and cash has its own advantage and disadvantage. The best choice often depends on individual context, needs, and preference. Understanding the benefits of QRIS is a view based on the convention and services provided by the payment system, as well as how it plays on role in improving the quality of user experience in everyday life. When consumers feel that the payment system is easy to use, they will tend to use it. Therefore, assessment regarding the usefulness of QRIS for a user greatly influence the decision to adopt it or not. Although the use of QRIS or Quick Response Code Indonesian Standard in Indonesia has brought many benefits, there are several negative impacts that needs to be considered. Technology dependency. Adoption of QRIS can create a dependency on technology. When digital infrastructure is disrupted or if technical problems occur, this can hamper accessibility and ease of carrying out transactions. The second one, we have data security. Using QRIS involves digital data exchange. Data security is an important issue due to the potential risk of leaking users' personal or financial information if not protected properly. We have access limitation. Not everyone has access to devices that support digital payments. This is especially true for those who do not have a smartphone or stable internet access. The last one is difficulty understanding. Some people may have difficulty understanding how to use QRIS, especially generation who are not familiar with technology or have limited digital literacy. Is it important to address these negative impacts with measures such as better public education about the safe use and how to overcome technical issues, expanding digital infrastructure across the country, and paying attention to data security and user privacy? With the right approach, this negative impact can minimize, while the benefits of using QRIS can still be felt by the majority or society. So guys, so far, what do you think? Will the use of cash replaced by QRIS? The use of cash in Indonesia is still quite common and is one of the payment methods that is widely used by the public, even though the adoption of digital and non-cash payments such as QRIS is increasing. Cash is still dominant in daily transactions in most segments of society. Many people still prefer and use cash to pay for goods and services. Cash has an advantage in terms of accessibility. Almost anyone can use it without needing access to special technology or infrastructure, as is required in digital payments. Cash is often considered more convenient for small transactions, especially in purchases at stalls, traditional markets, and everyday transactions. Guys, some people in Indonesia feel more confident and more comfortable using a cash, especially generation who are used to conventional payment system. Using cash can lead to unrecorded expenses, making it difficult to track expensive and create financial plans. And the adoption of digital payment technology and services is increasing with various innovation and promotion of security and convention introduced by financial service providers. Despite this, cash is remain as a significant option for some Indonesian people. The use of cash in Indonesia has several advantages which are still a preference for most people. Affordability and availability. Cash is easy to obtain and accessible to almost everyone in Indonesia. Its availability is widespread across the country without requiring access to special technology and infrastructure. Convenience in a small transaction. Cash is often considered more convenient, especially in small daily transactions such as buying food at a stall or making transactions at traditional markets. Not depend on technology. Cash is not affected by technical issues or system glitches that may occur with digital payment services. So digital payments are increasingly developing. Using cash still has certain advantages that make it the main choice for some people in Indonesia, especially in terms of affordability, convention in small transaction, and anonymity in a transaction. The use of cash in Indonesia also has several disadvantages that need to be considered. First one is expense tracking difficulty. Transactions with cash are difficult to track and record. This can make it difficult to manage personal or business finance due to the lack of documented transaction records. The second one is security risk. Cash is susceptible to security risks such as loss, theft, or counterfeiting. This risk can cause significant financial losses for the owner. The last one is inefficient for large transaction. For large transaction, carrying large amount of cash can be impractical and potentially risky. So, will there be a significant changes in transaction from cash to QRIS in the next 5 years? What do you think, guys? Estimating whether QRIS will be completely replace the use of cash in the next 5 years is difficult to do with certainty. Although QRIS adoption has increased rapidly in Indonesia, completely replacing the use of cash in a short period of time is still a big challenge. And also, guys, the decision depends on individual preference, type of transaction, and convention needed at a time. Some people may prefer cash out of habit, while others may prefer the easy and speed of QRIS in digital transaction. It's important to consider security, availability, and convention when choosing between of them. On the other hand, the adoption of digital payments is growing and could become a more widely accepted alternative in the future. Well, guys, that was my explanation about new media and digital culture in QRIS and cash payments. What about you? Do you prefer to use QRIS or cash in your everyday life transaction? Alright, thank you guys for watching my video to accompany your day. I hope you have a lovely rest for your day and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!